Rebecca Larson, producer and DM for Nerds and Gnolls, and welcome to our first special episode. So, basically, it'll just kind of be us chatting amongst ourselves of what's happened, and I guess also give you a bit more insight into our characters and our thoughts and reactions to what happened. So, thank you for coming in. Hope you enjoy. All right. I think this is our first time, like, seriously meeting, like, after the recording of the one shot and stuff, so. And it's our first special episode. Yay!
Woo!
So I guess.
I'm excited.
Pumped.
So I guess, like, one of the first things we should probably discuss is, I guess, characters and stuff. What did you guys think about when building your characters, and let us know a bit about them.
I don't know. I'm always drawn to making elves. I like to make elf characters.
Yeah, I think that's kind of like one of the most common ones. It's like you're either human with a tragic backstory or a half elf with parent issues and a tragic backstory.
That is me. Parent issues. They're gone. Yeah. No, I think you were just telling us about your character, Gray, actually. just leaves.
Gray did not like that.
Okay, one second. I'll find my headphones.
Anyway, yeah, Haley was talking, we were kind of joking around. Haley was talking about inspiration she draws and stuff for building characters, and we kind of joked around about the typical thing people do with building D&D characters is they tend to either be human with tragic backstory or half elves with parent issues and tragic backstory.
And why is that so true? That is so true.
I remember, I can't remember where, it probably was on TikTok, but they were talking about, someone was talking about how, like, the only reason that someone in the world of D&D would go on an adventure was if they had no reason to stay home. Like, if you're happily married and stuff like that, true. Other shows kind of tackle this and stuff, but still, it's like, there's like, why would you want to leave? And stuff.
See, Arius is an elf, but he's had a great life. He has no trauma whatsoever.
Gray, we can't hear you. We just see you mouthing things.
Are we vibing now?
Yes, now I can hear you.
Oh.
Yeah, you were like mouthing things like, that is not true.
It's ventriloquism. Wait, reverse ventriloquism?
What?
It's reverse ventriloquism. All right, but I'm back in action. What's up, guys?
I forgot we were filming this special episode today. That's why I thought it was going to be longer.
Okay.
Yeah, you were telling us how you make characters, Gray.
How I make characters?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. How do I make characters? I'm gonna be honest, I use a pretty standard base, and that base is they're gonna be a boy and they're gonna be good.
That's valid.
That's it. I mean, typically I try to refrain from making them self-inserts, but they typically end up going in the direction of, wow, this is a cool looking design. I want that to be me. You know what I mean?
As someone, while this is like my first time majorly DMing, I've never really gone to play a whole lot. And I come up with some character ideas that would be like something that I would put into a book or something.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Characters I want to play, I'm like, this feels very much like me. How do I make this less me? But then I'm the nerd who reads self-insert fan fiction, so it's not that surprising.
I'm not adding myself. I plead the fifth.
In pleading the fifth, we know your entire. We just
My
know
lifestyle, my story. But yeah, no. I guess like the way I make characters is basically either that or I try to think of something that seems pretty interesting Like there's a story that Zelda's doing that the character, I broke my typical mold of guys and I made a female character. And this character is a streamer. And I don't know if I can go too into detail because it's got basically they're just a streamer that does like news casting stuff, and I thought it was interesting.
That does sound neat.
Yeah.
My character creation process is just I want to do that class, and then I
Yes.
just randomly choose other stuff.
Yeah, I do kind of go with the class first, I guess.
Yeah, I know for this, you, Haley, were kind of deciding between Blood Hunter and Druid. But Drew, you did end up going with Druid due to technical difficulties, technical stuff that, in the end, actually thinking about it, we never ended up using Fantasy Grounds. So
I know. When we were doing the graphics, it said Visper was a blood hunter in one of the graphics, and I was like, But then I made the decision that wasn't exactly what her story was anyway.
yeah, I had to get graphics info stuff turned in before we like finalized what class you were. I'm like, here's both. 2 options just in case.
I mean, like Blood Hunter made sense, like because like of my like backstory and like I'm all like edgy and angry because my parents are dead, I guess. But I don't think I wanted to make Visper that dark. I don't know.
Yeah, I think all your character interactions with each other in the one shot and with the practice one shot were just hilarious.
I can never play a dark character as well as I want to, too. Yeah, like can never fully commit. So
Yeah, I can't even remember for the one shot for the, I guess, 2 NPCs you've met so far that we've aired so far to episode 2 that I don't even think I really attempted to do any voices. Like, I know I attempted to with the practice one shots, but that eventually just went out the window.
you would get into it sometimes. You definitely do. I don't know.
Yeah, like-
I remember.
Acting and emotion, yes. Changing my voice, unless it was for creatures. But for people, it's like, nope, they all just sound like me.
Just imagining a bunch of like NPCs that have your face.
All
Like
of them.
copy and paste. All of them. Like, is that Rebecca? It's like, no, I am Z.
An owl bear shows up. It is Rebecca's face.
That actually would be an interesting, like, either D&D campaign or one-shot idea for, like, the players are in the world and basically all the NPCs are clones or something. That would be
Clones.
to do. Because then it's like, yeah, no reason to voice act or anything, and they just all look like the DM. Anyway, I know with the with the episodes and stuff, we've kind of like alluded a bit to our practice one shot. Do you guys want to kind of talk a bit about that and what your thoughts were with the practice one shot, and for, I guess, building the group and party dynamic from there and leading into the story that we cover in the one shot?
I do not remember the practice one shot.
I'm glad it's not just me. I'm trying to remember it too. So
Brain empty. So
Like-
basically,
yeah. Yeah. So basically, do you remember?
It was.
I do.
You do what?
Oh, I do remember.
Oh, you want to talk about it?
I can talk some about it. So basically, we got chased out of the last town. It's undetermined why we were, but DM said you were chased out of the last town. Granted, that is kind of just our personalities. We kind of do just let that occur. But yeah, and we show up at some place, some town. I forget the name. I apologize. But there's an incident of sorts, an explosion, and we are sent to look at that.
Oh, the giant crocodile one.
The crocodile. Yes.
That's when my leg got bit off in the one shot.
Well, it got bit into.
Bit into. I know. I still have a leg.
Sadly.
Excuse
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, Yeah, I like struggled with kind of building the one shot. Like I remember talking to my dad, like it was either earlier that day or the day before, like trying to be like, I need to figure out what to do with this one shot so it's not just combat and stuff. And actually for the whole thing with that, I guess kind of like the pre-practice one shot stuff, like I had you all roll and I literally just had a list of random things and I thought, it would be interesting if I made up these random scenarios that I just had them roll for. They didn't know why. And this be like, this is what your situation is before starting this adventure. And so that would be interesting and I guess give more role play opportunities and stuff on your guys' part. So I thought it was funny, especially since, if I remember correctly, I think you had rescued children from Gnolls or something. You had done it successfully, but for some reason they still chased you out of town and you did not get paid.
They wanted those children gone. They were the ones that gave them to the Gnolls.
They paid the Gnolls to take them away.
They're like, "Oh, my money's wasted."
Money's wasted. And you want more from me?
These heroes.
Yeah. The practice one shot was a lot of fun and definitely helped me DM and stuff. And I think it was like halfway through, you, Zelda, almost scared the crap out of me with the intimidation on Eliza.
I still don't trust her.
Ends the
To
one
this
shot
day.
immediately.
Well, actually, no. It wasn't you who scared me. It was Haley and Gray. Your characters had successfully like rolled in persuasion, and then Zelda, I want to intimidate, and you rolled a natural 20. And I was going, when you two rolled successful, I'm like, oh no, like we're only like halfway through this, and it's already going to be over. And you're like, I want to roll intimidation, natural 20. I'm like, yay, the story continues.
A scapegoat of sorts.
But then it also fit with Arius' character.
It's always the first suspect that's the guilty one. That's Arius's core value. That and that contracts need to be signed before work is done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the whole contract gag started with the whole thing that you guys roll for before the practice one shot and that going badly. You're like, we need to make sure that we get our money.
Yeah.
Well, this is something that in other D&D games I've been in, I've had DMs try and be like, well, we never signed a contract, so you're getting nothing. And then now I'm just, all of my characters from now on are going to be doing that.
And then I'm the DM who forgets about the money part of a quest. In game going, crap, I forgot about this. Like even in the practice one shot, like I forgot to have a magic shop. The town's main thing is magic trade.
Remember that.
Absolutely juicy.
Yeah, and it was right in the beginning, like, I'm like, I prepped everything. I have NPCs and everything. Where's the magic shop? I'm like, especially at a magical academy, too. So, yeah, building this one shot and stuff, it was fun. Like, I had the idea of, I can't really remember how I came up with this idea, but after kind of publishing the first 2 episodes and stuff, I kind of realized that, especially with writing the descriptions for the show, for the one-shots in particularly, I kind of started realizing some side connections to Frozen. Like, oh, you
Now, what?
stop this spreading winter, and I'm like, dang it.
Oh my god.
I didn't think of that once.
I'm freaking out.
I guess the only reason I thought of it is because it's like, oh, give a summary of it. Okay, what's a rough summary? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh.
Does that mean Z is Olaf?
Don't just throw out them spoilers. Some sneak peeks.
Huh? Sneak peeks? I don't know if that's a sneak peek.
I hope not.
I don't think.
The Olaf, actually. The group of bumbling idiots that help.
A group. Yeah, yeah. I thought it was pretty big. I don't know.
Yeah, what were your guys' thoughts like going into the like official one shot for the show and stuff? What were your thoughts kind of going in, and what did you personally think of the premise?
My first initial thought was, when is this contract going to be signed?
20 minutes into the first episode,
20 minutes in.
Mm-hmm.
after 20 minutes of vigorous discussion.
You okay, Haley? You're kind of just like staring. a bit.
I was staring. I was like, I was literally about to say, Haley, I feel brain empty from you.
No, sorry. I was adding a line into this Google document. My bad. My bad.
Oh, I spy.
I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna get to play some D&D.
Oh.
And now I'm just having a great time.
Yeah, the interaction with the mayor was particularly funny, especially with your character Zelda Arius like being like, I can't remember your exact words, but basically I think you were saying that if the mayor didn't fulfill their end, that you would become mayor, or all of you would become mayor.
I think it was that Arya specifically would become mayor,
Yeah.
but it would be like a hollow title where Arius never actually got any responsibilities.
Yeah, because I remember like bringing up as the mayor, I'm like, it's a democracy or something along those lines. So it's like, you can't really do that.
It's like all of the monarchies now, how they're just there. They don't have any real authority or power. Like Arius just wants that, but on a much lower scale.
Arius wants the sash.
Yeah, he just wants a sash and a top hat.
Oh, how can I forget the top hat?
Oh, and a monocle. He wants to pretty much be medieval Mr. Monopoly.
That actually made me think of something that I saw years ago that my dad and sister showed me. But I'll tell you about it after we're done with this. So
Okay.
different conversation. But it kind of ties into what you were saying. Yeah. Yeah, I think definitely with building this one shot, like, I guess part of the reason why I incorporated winter was, it was it's the wintry time of the year, and I personally like winter and stuff. Like I prefer being cold than hot, like any day, because you can bundle up. Also, I have a thing for sweaters, so I want to be able to wear sweaters year round. So my personal love for the snow slightly influenced the plot. I'm like, ways to make them go to an Arctic place. Spreading winter. That gives me Frozen vibes, which is just, oh my gosh. I can't believe come to think of it, I don't think I ever talked to anybody about the premise of this before doing the one shot, so maybe that's why no one pointed it out, that it seemed Frozen-like.
I mean, to be fair, Frozen has a pretty simple plot. So, like, I mean, yeah. It's not like too much, like, because you don't have to like. Well, I don't know if I'm going to go too into it because I don't want to spoil anything. So never mind.
Yeah. Still, like shortly after your conversation with the mayor about the whole contract thing, combat started. So, what did you guys think of the fight with the ice methods and the introduction of Z?
I still can't believe the ice methods have hands. They just don't have hands in my head.
Well, I think they have hands. Like, let me double check.
I still can't believe Arius can heal so little. He is essentially a useless healer.
But he can punch so good. Punch.
He can punch, but sometimes those punches can heal a scratch.
Exactly.
Nothing more serious than that, though.
Yeah, they do have hands. They kind of look like a frozen skeletal version of, well, I would say Peeves, but Peeves is a poltergeist and technically looks like a person, but yeah, they kind of look like Green Goblin in a way if he had wings. It was much smaller and skinnier and just white. Like he was like long.
The Ice Green Goblin.
Ice cream
Completely
goblin.
blows Poe's face.
I'm not good at describing things.
What do you mean, Will
It's
Dafoe's
just gonna be
face? It's
Willem
Rebecca's
Dafoe
face.
with eyes.
Yeah, that was an interesting battle and stuff. Like, I definitely tried my best to kind of, I guess, balance out combat and stuff. I did my best. This is like I'm a beginner DM that signed on to do this. So, yeah.
I think you're doing great right now.
You're doing wonderful. Better than I could do.
I'm having a great time.
Yeah, and it was like towards the end of combat. Haley, your character Whisper had one of the ice methods in its jaws, and you both got hit by Thunderbolt by Z. I'm curious, what were your guys' first impressions of Z?
I was like, oh, Z's the one commanding them, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Really?
was like, great. Oh, the big bad guy.
The
It's
big
like,
bad.
Oh, it's the big bad guy that's going to pretend to be on our side for like an hour. And he's going to try and murder us.
Suspect.
And that could have been what happens. Who knows?
Who knows?
The audience doesn't.
I'm a little
I mean, I don't
suspect of
know.
everybody, so I don't know, especially upon meeting them.
I'll be
So-
honest, I'm still suspect of both of your characters. Arius
Both of
trusts
them.
no one.
It's valid. It's
Oh,
fine. But we
That's-
are
that's very
team
valid.
partners, but whatever,
I thought you were about to say we're Teen Titans.
Teen Titans, go!
Good.
It's actually why
Go.
Arius told you so little. He doesn't trust you.
It's still valid. Like, it's whatever. It's fine.
Yeah. And yet our names are still on the contracts.
Yeah. He believes in a fair deal.
Yeah. We're wiggling. Our characters are wiggling their way into his heart a little bit.
They're up to work acquaintances.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else that we should discuss. Anyway, thank you guys so much for coming. This was a lot of fun. Next week, we have our 3rd episode, so we get to see more of what these players think of Z and see how the adventure goes forward and stuff. So I like to thank our players here, Zelda Martin, Haley Cipher, Greg Copeland. And I'd like to thank our editor, Elizabeth Dodson, and our AP, Christina Gizzy. And be sure to check us out at our Instagram at Nerds and Gnolls. And just see you next week. Bye.